A quick warning before we begin. This episode contains very strong and offensive language. The emails you're about to hear are those received by Hannah, voiced by actors. They're based on the original messages, other than occasional changes to names or identifying details. For more than 3 years, Hannah has had to deal with her anonymous stalker.
Fun learning so much about life and people from you.
The threats.
Get ready for jail time.
The insults.
We are looking for whore with no morals and no class. You are the topmost name in this space.
The impersonations.
He said, "Don't know how to tell you this, but you have been emailing us for the last 2 months."
But also the confusion.
I just can't work out. Is it all him? Is it half him?
Finally saw you.
Well, we now believe that it was ultimately Kin who was behind all those personas.
Hey. Hi, Hannah Mossman.
We believe he constructed a confusing cast of characters.
You never think about me.
What you've seen so far is enough.
With the data that we have and the analysis that we've done, that is the superior hypothesis, authored by the same person or persons.
Contacting her and those around her.
I consider myself a fairly shrewd person, but I was completely taken in.
The longevity and the scope of this, how it ran, is unusual.
Leaving Hannah feeling afraid, alone, watched.
It was just really horrible to read that.
She has a fantasy of being raped. Do it.
At this point in the story, and with Hannah's consent, we've told Kin that the evidence we've seen suggests that he is her stalker. It's something Kin strongly denies. But this story doesn't end here. There's still a lot more to uncover. And it starts with the question of not just the who.
What did he tell you he did? He told you he was a buyer for somewhere.
But also the how.
The vast majority of security breaches are in some way down to a human error or manipulation.
We're going to get to all of this because there's something else about this story.
Subject, sweaty.
Those premium escort emails kept landing in Hannah's inbox.
Get tested. Your hoary ass works for us.
Multiple emails almost every day.
We need you to be working hard
through Sri Lanka, her move back to London, through lockdown, and through that time we sat down and she told me the full story.
But then, silence.
They just stopped. And that was within a month of me forwarding Hannah an email from Georgia at the BBC. Hey Georgia, prompted to drop you a line about an idea I'd had for a podcast series, Pictures Attached.
To which I replied,
"Hi Carole, thank you so much for getting in touch. I'm so sorry to Hannah that she's going through this. I have some initial thoughts from reading the pitch, which it would be great to chat to you about."
Before that, it was 4 or 5 emails a day. And it just went quiet. Nothing. Not a peep.
Which leads us to question something.
Hi, Hannah Mossman.
Was Hannah
Hey, Hannah Mossman.
being surveilled?
Something's wrong with you. Learning so much about life and people from you.
Is she still being watched? From BBC Sounds, this is Stalked.
I'm Hannah Mossman-Moore.
And I'm Carole Cadwalladr. Episode 5. Manufactured Coincidence. Here's what led Hannah to thinking she was under surveillance. How the hackers, as she thought they were then, had so many details on her family. Addresses, phone numbers, bank account details, passports. How when she changed her number, calls would start coming to the new number instead. How she was receiving parcels in the post.
Each parcel would have a different version of my name. So one would say Han, one would say Hanny, one would say Hannah.
When Hannah moved out of her apartment and moved back in with her dad, the parcels started coming there instead.
Hi, Hannah Mossman.
When Hannah was in Sri Lanka, many of the emails talked about surveillance, even commenting on her appearance.
You look good in blonde hair.
And when Hannah's then-boyfriend, Dylan, started receiving anonymous messages, among the name-calling, slurs and threats was private information.
Now, this is very personal information, and it's all coming back to me. He even knew that my father needed a kidney transplant. Now, how do you access that kind of information? It's quite intriguing, to be honest, because that was very, very personal information at that time, and very few people would have known that kind of stuff.
And that was stuff Dylan and I were constantly messaging about, but
yes.
Privately.
Which takes us to our first theory. Had the person behind these emails, a person we now believe is kin, found a way of somehow accessing Hannah's inbox? We're back at the offices of data expert Jonathan Sabir. It's been a few months since we last spoke, but there's more we want to ask him. When the stalking was going on, Hannah changed her email password multiple times. But now she's wondering if that was enough.
Is that possible if you were to change your password for someone to still easily get in or be in?
Depends on how much access they have and what they have access to. If someone had compromised your email, then even if you change your password, obviously the email reset goes there, and someone would know that you were trying to reset your password, and if they still had access to the email, they could change the password again. And so changing your password is good, but it's not foolproof.
Jonathan has spotted something else too. Lots of the emails Hannah was sent included attachments or hyperlinks.
It would be interesting to look where they actually go, if there's anything hidden in them, so whether or not you've been targeted with something that can remotely access your phone.
It might sound a bit extreme, but this type of spyware that Jonathan is talking about was actually developed by nation states to use in sophisticated surveillance operations against people they considered enemies. I've done a fair bit of reporting on this over the years, and this is how it works. The target would be sent a link that they'd hopefully click on, and it would download something onto their phone. The most famous firm that does this is an Israeli company called NSO. They developed a program called Pegasus, and that became notorious when it was used to track and surveil a Saudi journalist called Jamal Khashoggi.
The Saudi journalist was killed in the Saudi consulate in Istanbul.
He was critical of the country's government.
The CIA and some Western countries believe Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman ordered the killing. Saudi officials have always denied
And it was discovered that tons of other journalists and activists had also been being surveilled. And the latest generation of Pegasus is so sophisticated you don't even have to click on a link. It's possible to infect somebody's phone without them ever knowing. With Pegasus, researchers had access to the devices, and they were able to see that there were traces of spyware still there. The annoying thing is that Hannah no longer has these devices, so it makes it really hard to tell. She got rid of both her laptop and her phone in the years the stalking was going on.
You're a shitty person. You have it coming to you. Have we ruffled some feathers here?
Hi, Hannah Mossburnmore. Finally saw you.
Do you, Carole, ever get sent like a file to open?
Yes.
You do?
It was like 2017. I was hacked in this sort of very visible way. My computer was taken control of. It was kind of like really theatrical. I was looking at LinkedIn and all these windows were opening and I couldn't close it down. I kind of just lost control. I kind of finally shut it down. And then when I brought it back up, Jonathan, you're going to laugh at this one, I brought it back up, and when it rebooted up, it went back onto the LinkedIn page, but the ads were in Cyrillic. My computer thought it was in Russia. Totally freaks me out. Well, which is, I think, what it was presumably intended to do.
Long and storied history of, if you stay in certain countries, you come back and you find that the bathroom has been used and it wasn't you, and it's just to let you know that people have been in your room, hence the digital equivalent of that.
Because if you're hacking somebody, that's just not necessary. Not necessary because nowadays hacks are so sophisticated you wouldn't even know. It used to be that these sorts of techniques would only be used against pretty high-profile targets, activists, journalists, politicians. Like anything, things become copied. Technology becomes easier to replicate. Developers move from working in military or security to commercial, and tools that were once elite eventually become weaponised against ordinary people too. Just as new technology becomes available for us all to use to make life easier, it also means that the technology that can be used as a weapon or used to surveil or attack somebody, that also becomes cheaper and more accessible too. It cuts both ways. It's just really hard to keep your sanity, isn't it? I think you just don't know whether you're being paranoid or you have reason to be paranoid. You know, it's that old saying, just because you're paranoid doesn't mean to say that nobody's following you. And I think it's very difficult to keep that line. Hannah was increasingly feeling like this, paranoid. At one point, she even wondered if the furniture had some sort of surveillance device in it. And it does sound a bit extreme. But Hannah's learning a lot about how technology can be used and misused in this series. So in the spirit of learning, there was somewhere I wanted to show her. Oh, here we go. It's this one, I think. Yeah. Is it? Here we go. It's just a mobile phone shop which sells mobile phones and laptops. Hello. We wanted it. Is it upstairs, your monitoring equipment? James Bond. James Bond. There's a set of stairs which goes up to the second floor. It just looks like a kind of, quite dingy office building.
It's a staircase. We've gone up 3 flights.
And there's a closed door and some chat. Oh, is it this? Are we in the right place? Oh, OK, sorry. Basically, I know we were laughing about it in Pret a Manger, but it was just like when these guys came out of the locked bit of it, it was quite creepy, because I was like, who are they? What are they up to? A man also waiting to go in asked us, "Are you here to spy on your boyfriends?" Not quite, we said. He told us he was there to buy a tracker for his vans. He ran a courier business. We believed him. It's all legal. Yeah. It's nothing. It's kind of the same with any technology. It's how you use it. We described some of the things that we saw. This is like, what, Wi-Fi router or something over here? Vehicle trackers, walkie-talkie, there's a...
That one I would be suspicious about turning my house up. Yeah.
That one, which Georgia is referring to, is a large, plush, pink pig with huge eyes. I feel like that cuddly toy I've seen in like a BBC drama or something. Oh, look at that power bank. The pen spy cam. Outside, we spoke about what we'd seen. So, Han, what do you think?
He had it was like a DVD player. It was a sort of...
And a TV.
Yeah, and a customer had dropped it off for him to fit a secret camera into.
The one which I just thought was so kind of a bit mind-blowing was that USB charging. Like where you just plug in, your phone to charge. No way would you be able to spot that's anything out of the normal. And there's a SIM card in it. When somebody comes into the room, there's a movement detector, and that then calls your number, and then you can listen in directly or to record it of whatever's going on in the room.
Everyone has those plugged in, so you wouldn't think twice.
It's so easy. It's not even, there's no barrier to that now. We don't know whether Hannah's stalker ever used equipment like the stuff we've just seen. And there's someone else we wanted to speak to.
I'm so excited to hear everything.
This is Charlotte Hooper. She runs the Cyber Helpline. It's a resource for anyone who's encountered problems or harassment in any form online.
Over the last few years, we've kind of ended up specialising in cyber stalking as one of our areas. So we now support around 2,000 victims every month.
Charlotte is in a blaze of pink. She has pink hair, a pink outfit, pink platforms. The Barbie film's recently out and she loved it, in an alternative way. One thing I've realised making this series is just how many people have been affected by stalking.
So with me, I started in the Cyber Helpline. I was studying to join the police and I was doing my undergraduate in policing. I joined the Cyber Helpline as my placement and I was volunteering for them when we had about 4 people. And during that time, I found out that I'd had a stalker for the last 4 years or so. I knew about him. He always used to message me, but I just kind of ignored him. But I found out he'd been posting information about me online on other websites. At the time, I didn't know it was stalking, so I contacted the police, and they were just so confused about what to do. But to me, that solidified that there's a real need for this cyber helpline.
Do you think that it's getting easier for people to cyberstalk as technology advances?
Yeah, if you look at how people are living their lives online, they might work online. So in those cases, it becomes really difficult to say, well, set everything to private, because actually, even though it's the way the stalker's gathering information, that's also how they're earning their money or living their life.
Hannah tells Charlotte about her case and how she felt like she was being surveilled, that maybe spyware had somehow been installed in her phone, her computer, or even her furniture.
We see spyware in maybe less than 2% of cases.
Really?
So it's very rare. We don't actually tend to see it. We see more things like hacking. Somebody's hacked into their Facebook account and getting information that way.
Yeah.
If you have an iPhone and you hack into someone's Apple ID, you can see their messages, you can see their photos.
Yeah.
So you're getting all the same information you would out of spyware, if not more.
Yeah.
And then when there are things where it is just an Apple ID has been hacked, to the police that is, it's just an Apple ID that's been hacked. But actually there's more information you can get out of that than spyware.
Chances are there wasn't spyware, but somehow Kin seemed to know a lot about Hannah's life.
Even when we were friends, he used to know a kind of scary amount of information about me, but he used it in a supportive way. So I remember thinking he always used to know, like, if I was having a bad day, he would just like say, "Hey, I sense you're having a bad day." And I remember being like, wow,
so kind.
We're really connected. Yeah. He's such an empath.
But sometimes it was more tangible, specific details on places and people.
He seemed to know things about me before I had told him. One thing that really freaked me out was when I had just been at a job interview and I kept it really quiet, and he met me after the job interview and he was like, "I know who you've been on a job interview with." I'd email him and say, "I feel like you're hacking me."
You said that? This
Yeah.
Is really?
Realised I give you too much information, and maybe you are the one hacking my emails.
And he would say, "Can you just drop this hacking conspiracy
theories?"
We asked Kin if he'd gained unauthorised access to any of Hannah's accounts. He denies this. Here's something about hacking. People tend to think it's about shadowy, anonymous people breaking code to access secure computer systems. But that's not the only meaning of the word. I was just reading about your work, which just sounds so cool.
Everyone wants to do it until you get tasered.
This is Jenny Radcliffe. Have you actually been tasered?
Yes.
Oh my God, really?
Oh, aye.
Really?
Lots of times. Yeah, I'm a burglar for hire. It happens.
Jenny describes herself as an ethical hacker, someone who's used by companies to test how good their security is. She's very good at getting into places and getting information out of systems that should be secure. Cloud storage, phones, accounts.
I don't work on the lock, I work on the human. I'm not bothered about what security there is on a building or on anything, really, because someone can always open the lock.
My 3 mobile account locked me out of it, barred my dad's phone account, so my dad couldn't call me. Are those things easy to do?
At the end of the day, anyone determined enough to do harm can find a way to do harm.
What Jenny says is that getting into someone's account is easy if you have access to their device. But even without it, it's still possible.
I'm much more of a psychological hacker than a technical hacker. I don't really do the technical side.
And that is more to do with what Jenny calls social engineering.
The vast majority of security breaches, privacy breaches, are in some way down to a human error or manipulation, that's never less than about 75%. Someone somewhere in that chain has either been manipulated, coerced or bribed, made a mistake, or is being malicious.
In the case of Hannah's phone contract, that looks like what's happened. When she spoke to her provider about getting it back online, they told her it had been cancelled by her. When she asked them what username and email they'd given, they told her it was the same one that the emails that the online reputation management company were using.
Dear Miss Mossman-Moore, we will now take control of your online reputation.
I still think it's the middle of last year.
We hear back from Jonathan. He's a pretty busy man.
Continue to deal with primarily online harassment, abuse. There are lots of similar questions in terms of how are these people managing to obtain this information about my life. So if we took the view that Hannah's email accounts had been compromised themselves, unfortunately it is a reality that the kind of information you're talking about, passports, bank account details, phone numbers, are the kind of details that you often have to share via email. You've often sent something, if you're booking a trip, you may have emailed a photo of your passport, had your bank account details, etc., etc. In terms of installing spyware, if you do have access to the device, then that's certainly possible. It's also possible, if people will be familiar with the term phishing attacks, people might send you a malicious link. Because of the relationship that Hannah and Kin had at the time, it wouldn't have been unusual to receive a link that you had to click on to access a document or to do something that seemed perfectly reasonable.
You didn't pick up anything that looked malicious?
No, but the email account that we reviewed for Hannah, whilst there was a lot of material there, a lot of the material was also forwarded from another account which we don't have access to from the period where the relationship was good. So, which is when you might expect it to happen.
Yeah.
But there's another possibility here of how this information might have been acquired. The fact that we're literally just giving it all away. There's this quote from Mark Zuckerberg when he first set up, it was called The Facebook back then, and somebody asked him, why are people giving you all this personal information about yourself? Mark Zuckerberg basically said, they're dumb fucks.
No, this was one of the early emails he sent Hannah.
Hey.
I have unintentionally found your Facebook. You're talking about Facebook. You may know.
Thank you, Facebook. Smiley face.
I think he searched for me and then found and that attached that picture of me.
But that was in your closed settings or your open settings at the time?
I think my profile was closed, but I think that picture in particular was open.
Uh-oh, I didn't realise my account was so easily accessible. Maybe time to delete... ... Scary
you got that picture.
Yeah. So you're already there, being like, this is a bit weird.
Hey, I'm not sure your Facebook account is easily accessible.
But for
some unknown reasons, Facebook found you for me.
Why is it scary?
Why is it scary? I have your hula hoop photo.
Think it's cute. Smiley face.
Where are you having brunch with your friend?
Where are you having brunch with your friend?
I mean, this is exactly the type of thing that I talk about all the time. You are actually only as private as your most talkative friend, colleague, or family member. Once someone knows an associate of yours, then following that associate even, particularly, if you're a young person who is enjoying nightlife and enjoying like a vibrant social life, if you like, at some point that friendship group is going to be featured somewhere online.
Think of all the information that's out there about you.
He then sent me a picture of me zoomed in to my chest.
You don't know who's posting what where.
My friend had a nail salon and I got my nails painted there, black and white. He was like, oh, nice black and white manicure.
Everyone has a phone. And if you know where and how to look, it's not that hard to find.
Often they're not necessarily technologically skilled in terms of hacking and these kind of things.
Here's clinical psychologist Dr. Alan Underwood.
It's often about being persistent enough and exploiting the sort of human weaknesses in some of the security. And this is a group who, because of their obsession, it's become their job in several ways, will just persist and persist.
So one of the questions you're asking was...
There's been a lot of back and forth between us and the data expert, Jonathan Sabir, trying to understand what the data we have might tell us about Kin.
Could Hannah's emails have been...
He hasn't found any dodgy hyperlinks in the emails, but he has found something else. Something we weren't expecting.
I decided to fly to Puglia tomorrow. Antigua is great and I love it. Paris Fashion Week, New York City or Miami.
Kin talked a lot about those glamorous places he was always visiting.
Miami places. Catch up at some point when we're both in Portugal. Less humid than the other islands like St. Lucia. Greetings from Milano.
I remember him talking a lot about Milan.
Seriously, come to Milano and we can hang out. Beauty sleep from Milano.
I keep hearing people say Milano instead of Milan, like in fashion content on Instagram. And I'm like, oh, I've never been to Milano.
Have you been to Milan?
I've never been to Milan.
And Jonathan, the data expert, has been wondering about Milan and all the other places Kin mentions, and specifically whether we can learn anything from the data in the emails that Hannah received.
You should try and look at the email headers, which will give you some pathway as to how the email has got to you, and it will give you the full pathway that the email has actually taken. Different email providers will give you...
It can all get quite technical.
Domain that is sent has a spam factor, which it adds to.
But after having an initial look at Hannah's emails, Jonathan says he's come across something interesting.
There are lots of specific dates and places. I'm emailing you from X. I'm going to be in Y next week.
I'm going to be in Valdolobo and Lisbon from 10th of August.
Or can we meet up, etc.,
And I recall you said that you might be going to Portugal at some point
I'm
this
not
summer.
entirely sure if my Portugal trip is happening at the moment.
And so the first thing I wanted to do is establish, does the narrative match up to what the data's saying? Can we just take as read when somebody says they're in Hong Kong,
I'm getting bored on the island.
Paris, or says they're in the UK? Is that where the data says they actually are?
Crazy Milano. You can't make it. Fly to Puglia
There were some discrepancies within that where it looked like when someone was saying that they're outside the UK, actually all of the IP addresses involved were based in the UK. So it looked like the email was being generated and sent within the UK. My suspicion at the moment is that there's a lot of...
Fantasy.
Well, yeah, just putting out narrative that I might be in X place or I'm going to X place to see how you'd react. And then if you reacted positively, to actually go there.
We dug a bit deeper into this. Rob, what have you found?
I think from the outset, it's important to say that an IP address doesn't always give you an accurate location of where the person was when they sent it.
Because you can always just use a VPN, right?
So, bearing all that in mind, we looked at those emails where he said, okay, I am here and I'm doing this, and in some cases even sent photos and things. And, you know, some of those do check out. For example, him saying he was in Florida, the data looks like he was actually there. Refers to being on the island, which we assume to be Hong Kong Island. It looks like that email was generated in Hong Kong. But there are examples where the IP addresses suggest he wasn't where he said he was. So when he's in Milan, for example, and then he says he goes to Puglia.
I decided to fly to Puglia tomorrow, southern Italy for a few days, top up my tank.
The IP address data suggests that they were sent from London. When he said he was in Antigua...
Antigua is great and I love it here.
The IP address data suggests he was in America. It seems to suggest that there are inconsistencies, but it's not definitive.
We asked Kin about this, that the IP address data suggested he may have lied to Hannah about where he was, citing that example of Antigua way back in 2015. Kin firmly denied that he misled her about his location. One other thing Jonathan notices is how Kin seems to use the information he's gathered.
There seems to be a slight pattern of manufactured coincidence. Oh, I just happen to have tickets to this show.
when I was in Cannes, he found an event in Cannes on that date.
Sadly, I am still homesick with chickenpox and obviously can't make Cannes from tomorrow, and you're welcome to my screening and party invites, including the welcome party.
There's too much of that to believe that it is just good fortune and coincidence, as opposed to somebody going, okay, well, I know this about this person, this is where they are, and this is what I know that they want.
Jonathan has suggested something that makes us wonder if we've got the story wrong. Was Kin deceiving Hannah from the very start?
It's really hard listening to this. Was he planning this? Did he have this plot in his head all along?
And there's something else about the emails Hannah received from Kin, which Alan, the psychologist, has spotted.
All of the sort of emails are around sort of, I'm here, I'm there, I'm travelling.
Just seen Giorgio Armani catwalk this morning, which is my last show in Milan.
But what kind of struck me with that is often there was sort of the absence of anybody else.
You might get here in time for the D&G party. Scuba diving, snorkeling right from the beach. I was watching sunset on the beach, sipping cocktails.
No sort of link to friends or colleagues.
Deciding where to spend Thanksgiving, New York City or Miami.
There's a very limited kind of social network.
Lessons and treks and forest walks, great shows and after parties.
It's so hard to separate what's fact and fiction in these emails. Were you suspicious?
Yeah.
But Hannah isn't the only person who's noticed something strange. Next time,
I did a bit of digging into the old emails.
It leads us to wonder, did Hannah really know Kin at all? So he's either one of the richest men in Hong Kong, and in the world, or he's a bullshitter. One or the other.
Here's Rob.
I had a message today from Robert from somebody saying, oh my God, I want to retrain to be a forensic linguist.
Keep them coming.
So basically, we're here because George, the producer, is torturing us. She's testing us on what we learned and remembered for in episode 4 about the linguistics, because they're coming back in episode 6. And basically, we all know that Georgia's the only girly swat who's going to have the answers.
Right, and now I'm going to avoid getting to the meat and potatoes of why we're here.
Should we hit the reaction? Whoever reacts first with an emoji gets to talk first.
Oh, that's a great idea. What is a copula?
To be, become,
Yeah, it's the same root as copulate.
Oh.
Yeah, it joins together the part of two parts of the sentence. What is determiner omission?
Go on, Georgia.
Trying to get there. My problem's the emojis.
Yes.
I'll take a guess. Is it when you omit the quantity of something, like the number of something?
Oh, I love how Rob just used the rational approach there.
Close.
He tried to logic it out.
You leave out the subject of what you're talking about. So
Close.
Oh.
Shall I give you an example? Send me picture with your chilling pose. I picked her up first time. What are we leaving out? Send me picture?
The.
It's omitting the word the. Let's see. Auxiliary verb omission. So auxiliary verbs are what is taught in school as helping verbs or something. So we have, how come you working this Saturday night? Except there's no R there.
Is that common in people's second languages?
Absolutely. Let's see. Functional M dash.
Oh, I remember. Email. Is it where you put the dash on email?
That's right. What is grist for arm mill is when people do idiosyncratic things. The way you use hyphens or long dashes, N dashes, or M dashes probably are. Do you leave a space before and after the M dash, etc.? So let's see what else.
I love this.
Okay. Well, this is going to be obvious. As to mean because.
I think as to mean because. I think
Very good. All right. Carole wins. Excellent.
Yes, finally.
Number non-agreement.
I can remember this because you said, can we give you any assistances in Paris or whatever, rather than assistant. It's plural rather than singular.
What is lexical choice / verbatim overlap. Hint, it has to do with engrams.
Well, lexical choice is just your choice of words.
Yes. People may think everybody speaks the same, but we don't. And as a matter of fact, we've all had the experience where you say, so why don't we tell them XYZ? And somebody says, that's great, write that down. But nobody can, because we've already forgotten what it was that we said. Redundancy.
Well, you don't need it.
Right.
Who's top of class?
As predicted.
You're all forensic linguists. It's great.
In spirit, yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
This was fun. Bye-bye.
Much more from Robert in episode 6. Don't forget your copulas.